Is atheism true? Is Christianity true? Let's examine the evidence together. With that said, I'm Paul, this is Stop, and let's start with Dr. Frank Turk, who's going to introduce the book we're going to be going over throughout the series.
About 4 weeks into her first semester, I got a phone call from her. Her words devastated me. She said, "Dad, I don't believe in God anymore." "Don't believe in God anymore? What?" He said, "I got in my car, I drove 4 hours down to Chapel Hill that weekend. I sat down with her and I got nowhere with her." "What do you mean you don't believe in God anymore? What happened?" And she said, "Well, we have an atheist who teaches the New Testament class." No, it wasn't Bart Ehrman. It was somebody else. And he said, "We don't even know who wrote the Gospels, and the Bible has errors in it, so Dad, I'm an atheist now." Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you think this young woman in 4 weeks investigated all the evidence for and against Christianity and made a rational decision it was false? No. What happened? She went off to college unarmed. She didn't know why Christianity was true. And then she heard a couple of arguments that she thought might be evidence against it. And she said, "Well, you know, I just don't want to have the pressure of being a Christian here on college anyway. I kind of want to do my own thing." So she left the faith she said she believed in for her entire life. So this father was asking me, "What can I do?" And I said, "Well, you could ask her a question." What's the question? Here's the question I ask all unbelievers, particularly atheists on college campuses, and it's this: if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? I've had many atheists yell back at me, "No!" No? Wait. I ask you, if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? And you say no. How's that reasonable? How's that rational? It's not. I submit to you, when you go to college, you'll be more pressured by morality than you will be anything else. Everything's going to be sexualized. Every pressure is going to come at you to take you away from what you've learned here at Trinity, which is a school, as you know, at the very top echelon of Christian schools. But you are going to have so much pressure put on you to walk away from what you know is true. You see that banner up there? Philippians chapter 4. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think on these things. I submit to you, virtually every college campus will teach you the opposite. And if you think I'm making this up, you've had your head in the sand. You know, the easiest way to get picked off in a war is to not know you're in one. You are about to enter the battlefield. And I want to give you 4 reasons or 4 questions you need to answer to show that Christianity is true. The first question is, does truth exist? The second question is, does God exist? The third question is, are miracles possible? And the fourth question is, the New Testament and therefore the Bible true? If you answer those 4 questions in the affirmative, because there's evidence that the answer to those 4 questions is yes, then Christianity's true. Let's just take a minute on each one of these, or a couple of minutes. The first question is, does truth exist? You may hear people say there is no truth. You got your truth, I got my truth. All truth is relative. When you go off to the academy, not Trinity Academy, but the college, they're going to basically push this kind of relativism on you. But you all know this because you've been going to Trinity and you've taken logic. Unfortunately, most schools don't teach logic anymore. But if someone were to ever say to you, there is no truth, you should ask that person a question. What should the question be? Go. What would you say? There is no truth. Go. What would you say? Yeah, you'd say, how is that true? Or, is that true? Is it true that there is no truth? Because if it's true that there is no truth, the claim there is no truth can't be true. But it claims to be true. Did I say that right? I know that can give you intellectual constipation if you think about it long enough. But that's because it's self-defeating. And if there's one skill you need to know when you go to college, and for the rest of you, you're just out there in life, you need to know this skill too. The skill is apply the claim to itself. See if the claim meets its own standard. If somebody says there is no truth, that claim doesn't meet its own standard because that very claim claims to be true. It's like saying I can't speak a word in English. If I were to say I can't speak a word in English, you'd go, huh? Or it's like saying my parents had no kids that lived. Or it's like saying my brother is an only child. Or it's like saying everything I say is a lie. Some of you will get that tomorrow. Or it's like saying all generalizations are false. Some of you will never get that one. These are self-defeating statements. You're going to hear this. All truth comes from science. What question would you ask somebody who says that? Yeah, does that truth come from science? No, it doesn't come from science at all. It's a philosophical claim. You couldn't do science without philosophy. Science is built on philosophy. You couldn't understand the Bible or the newspaper without philosophy. So don't let them snow you with this postmodern relativism. Of course, the granddaddy of them all, you're going to go off to college campus and you're going to have certain moral beliefs, and they're going to tell you, you ought not judge. If someone ever says you ought not judge, what question should you ask them? Apply the claim to itself. What would you say? Yeah, isn't that a judgment? I mean, if somebody says you ought not judge, put your hands on your hips and say, then why are you judging me for judging? See, because it's a judgment. No, Jesus didn't say don't judge. He said don't judge hypocritically. In John 7:24, he says stop judging by mere appearances and make a right judgment. Everybody's making judgments. Atheists make judgments. Christians make judgments. Everyone in between makes judgments. The only question is, are your judgments true? But I am warning you right now, and parents, I'm warning you, that a foundation isn't enough. You need to ensure you stay in fellowship with other Christians and that you stay connected to Christ. Because if you don't stay connected to Christ, you're going to get picked off. And it's not going to be for intellectual reasons, it's going to be for moral reasons. You're going to want to fit in with everybody else. You're not going to want to be called names. You're not going to want to be the target of those atheistic college professors. You're going to want to fit in. You need to be in the world but not of it. So the first question is, does truth exist? Obviously it does, because if there was no truth, you wouldn't even be going to college, would you? In fact, if there's no truth, any book written by an atheist can't be true either, right? Everybody's making truth claims. The only question is, what is true?
If you would like to learn more, we'll leave links in the description about lectures, about books that teach you more about this. Search on your own. Discover, is this true or not? Your eternity is on the line. Truth truly exists. Okay? There's something called the law of non-contradiction. It helps us discover what is false and what is true. What the law of non-contradiction means is that opposite ideas cannot be true at the same time in the same sense. Okay? The earth is either round or not round. Okay? This is either phone or not a phone. This is not spaghetti. This is not anything. Okay? God either exists or he doesn't exist. Okay? The law of non-contradiction says, again, opposite ideas cannot be both true at the same time in the same sense. Okay, so and some people deny this law of non-contradiction when they say, oh, there is no truth. That means there can be multiple truth, right? This can be a phone or spaghetti, apparently. So actually, there was a very famous philosopher in medieval times. He said, anyone who denies the law of non-contradiction should be beaten and burnt until he admits that to be beaten is not the same as not to be beaten, and to be burned is not the same as not to be burned. Okay, again, the law of non-contradiction seems easy, but some people miss it, and society today teaches otherwise, unfortunately, right? Something is true, absolutely true, for all people at all times in all places. This is a phone, no matter who's the person, no matter what time it is, no matter what place it is. I don't care what anybody's opinions are. You can have many different opinions about what this is. At the end of the day, this is a phone, okay? Some people are going to say, oh, there is no truth. Aren't you making a truth statement by saying there's no truth? Some people are going to say, you can't know the truth. Aren't you claiming that you know the truth by saying you can't know the truth? Some people say, all truth is relative. Aren't you making an absolute statement by saying all truth is relative? So is that statement, all truth is relative, that you see here, is that statement also relative? So does that mean I don't listen to you? Because it's relative to you, it's not to me. Some people say, oh, it's true for you, but not for me. Is that true for everybody? To quote Dr. Frank Turk, some of you will not get that, but it's okay. No one has the truth. You'll hear that. Okay, if no one has the truth, okay, so how do you have the truth then? If no one has the truth, how are you claiming to know the truth that there's no one that knows the truth? You are not judged. Excuse me, aren't you judging me and claiming that I'm judging you? So you're already doing the thing you're telling me not to do. So I think that's the problem with a lot of the world's ideology today. If we flip the claim on itself, if we say, does the statement hold its own standard? Does the statement hold its own standard? Okay. A lot of the statements that are said today in the world don't hold its own standard. For example, if somebody says, I can't speak a word in English, didn't you just speak a word in English by saying I don't speak a word in English? Okay, somebody's gonna say, oh, there is no truth. Is that true? Aren't you making a truth claim by saying there's no truth? Okay. There's no such thing as an absolute truth. Are you absolutely sure? Excuse me, you're making an absolute statement by saying there's no such thing as an absolute truth. That's a self-contradicting statement. It's true for you, but not for me. Hello, yes, I'm trying to transfer $50 million from my account to my son.
Sir, you only have $3.50.
No.
What?
Well, that's true for you, but not for me. In my worldview, I have $20 billion in my bank account. So please transfer all the money that I need to my son's account. Money value is true to all people at all places when referring to that specific point in time. Okay? Try that with your speeding ticket. Hey, officer, you were speeding. Oh no, that's true for you, but not for me. What do you mean? You either were speeding or you were not. The statement is either false or true. You were either speeding or you were not speeding. Do you have to believe in something to make it true? No, I don't have to believe that I was speeding. But does that mean I wasn't speeding? No. I can believe all I want that I have $50 trillion in my bank account. Does that make it true? Just because I believe there's $50 trillion in my account, does that make it true? Does that matter? Does my opinion matter in this case? No. Truth is truth, no matter what I think of it. Truth is truth. Truth is straight up clear. No opinions matter when it comes to truth. That's why, again, we need to have these discussions calmly. Because, again, this shouldn't have an opinion. There's no opinions here. We're discussing truth. We're discussing truth. What is truth? Some people are going to say, another statement, there is no truth in anything but science. Is that a scientific statement that you just made by saying there is no truth in anything but science? Actually, no. When you say this statement that you see right here, is that a scientific statement? Can that be observable, repeatable, testable? Is that science? Scientific truth? Or is that a philosophical claim? No. The claim doesn't. There is no. When somebody says there's no truth in anything but science, how did science tell you that, or did philosophy tell you that? Did reasoning tell you that, or did science tell you that? Did science go through experiments to test the statement? No, you can't test a statement like this. You can't. Again, another one. You can't know the real world. Aren't you claiming to know the real world by telling us that you can't know the real world? Excuse me. Let's think a little bit, please, before we say things. You should doubt everything. Should I doubt what you're saying then? These statements do not make sense because when you apply the claim to itself, they don't work. We can have different opinions, but we can't have different truths. We can't, okay? Contrary beliefs are possible, but contrary truths are not possible. You can believe everything is true, but everything cannot be true. And finally, objective truth cannot be denied without being affirmed. Apologetics is not Christianity. Reason and logic and proving God through science is very possible, and we're going to go over that. But apologetics, going through this stuff, is not Christianity. I can learn about the chemistry of the sea, but unless I take a leap of faith and jump in the sea and test out, does the salt water carry me, I will never be able to swim in the sea. I can learn about all the chemistry, bio, whatever, right? We can learn about all the sciences. But unless I jump into the sea and see for myself, I will never be able to swim. Knowledge, logic, it's very good. At the same time, this is just one of the pillars of foundations. This is not Christianity, just one pillar. We focus on it, we finish it, we understand it, we move on so we can start our relationship with Christ. We take this leap of faith as needed. It's going to be needed at some point. How much evidence is enough evidence? I need you to ask yourself that question. How much evidence do I need that this sea will carry me eventually? If I jump in and I know the basics of how to swim, it will carry me. How much evidence is enough evidence? Because without that step, we're not going to live with God. We're not going to be able to know God on a personal level. Frank Turk, the book I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. To learn more about science and God, check out the links in the description down below. This channel is about orthodoxy. Therefore, even though we're going to start by talking about apologetics, the goal is not to talk about apologetics, it's orthodoxy. If you want to know anything about apologetics, look in the description down below. I'm Paul. Let's climb to the top. See you next time.